from the coaches, all the coaches, how disappointed are you in this year's season?
Well, I think that there's obviously some disappointment because I think everybody envisioned a season where our record right now and our standing at this point in the conference would be better. You know, there's going to be disappointment. You know, some of the other disappointment has been just because of some of our performance in terms of we've beaten ourselves a lot, which is something that as a coach, but also as a player, you know, that's something you can control in terms of, you know, turnovers or shot selection and defensive effort. And we've had breakdowns in those areas at certain times throughout the year, which again, not taking anything away from anybody who's beaten us. You know, from my understanding, a little bit I did see of the game Saturday, it sounded to me like they just took it to us, and which obviously at any time, you know, as a competitor alone, not let alone as a coach or as a player, that has to be disappointing. That is obviously something this week that we have to fix because the season's not over. There's still 7 games. There's a long way to go yet, but you have to right the ship. We have to make those corrections, and we have to move forward from Saturday, first of all. Learn from it, but move forward and go on the road and play 2 very good teams this weekend.
What do you think, from a coaching standpoint, is wrong?
Oh, I think it's a combination of things. You know, again, I think part of it, I think, is at times effort, which is, you know, for me personally, and obviously I've been around Joe long enough to know that for him too, and the rest of the staff, is effort something you control as a player. That's not a coaching thing. That's a player thing. There's been some inconsistency with that. There's been some inconsistency with just overall performance. Some nights we're very efficient offensively in terms of we have good movement with our people, we have good movement with the basketball, and other nights we stand around. Well, I think, you know, obviously our mindset has to be that we're going to have to go on the road and, you know, just be ready to play, first of all, but go in there with an attitude of we're gonna play as hard as we can, we're going to give our best, we're going to give our best shot, we're going to do whatever it takes to win. You know, obviously both those teams hurt us from the three-point line, so we're going to have to defend the three-point play, the three-point shot, I'm sorry, more effectively. We're going to have to not allow them to get up and down and play in transition basketball. And the last thing probably is we need to take care of the basketball. You know, the Montana game here, we did a pretty good job of that. Montana State game, down the stretch we didn't. And obviously, as everybody knows, it cost us a basketball game. And, you know, when you're on the road, you have to be very good defensively. That's the first thing. Because, again, you're in an unfamiliar environment. But you have to be very good defensively, and you have to take care of the basketball. And in turn with that, if you're good defensively, you have to rebound. Because if you don't rebound, then those defensive efforts there's no bearing on it. So there definitely has to be a sense of urgency. Because, like you said, it's something when you look at things, you're always looking for positives in terms of, well, we've got a chance to win 3 in a row, and then go on the road with 3 in a row and build on that. It seems to be the tendency of this team: 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I think part of that is because we lose our sense of urgency. And I don't know why that. Sometimes, you know, all of you have covered sports, and you've seen it. Sometimes people get comfortable because they're at home, and they just think it's going to happen. And it's not just here. I mean, North Carolina lost at home again. You know, it's like 4 or 5 times this year already. It didn't happen in North Carolina. So it's not just Idaho State. But there has to be a sense of urgency because there's no room for error now. I mean, you know, early when you start the season, okay, we lost the game, we can get it back. We've got 7 games left. If that's not urgency, and if that's not, hey, time is now, then we've got other problems. But I've got confidence, and I know Joe and Jeff do, and Corey, that our guys will bounce back and they'll come into work this week and work hard to get better, and then go on the road and go up there and try to get 2. Well, you know, the only adjustment, obviously, first of all, that we have to make is the preparation idea of it. You don't get that. You have that quick turnaround. So after the game, we'll have to do some things right away in terms of preparation with the guys. Obviously, we're not going to get on the floor and do any of that, but mental preparation right away. If there is an advantage, is that we've played both these teams already, and some of our guys have played against them for 4 years, and some of these against these players for 4 years. So there's some familiarity, which will help us. Second of all, I think because of the way they played here, our guys have maybe a little bit more familiarity because certain players came in here and did things that we had talked about going into that game, and they did those things, and so our guys have a realization that, hey, that kid can shoot it, or he's really good inside, or whatever that key is for that individual player. They already understand that and have a good feel for that. Obviously the second thing is that on game day, we'll probably we try the thing's going to be try to keep them off their feet as much as possible, because it's a quick turnaround. It's something that, I guess the good thing is we've had one already. Even though we were at home, we had one already. I think that's the hardest part for people that haven't been doing it, is to do the first one, because they're not sure what to do. I think an advantage that maybe, I'm not going to say we have an advantage over anybody else in our league, but one advantage that we have is that we all coach junior college. In junior college, some nights you play 3 days in a row. And Joe talks to our guys about it, but the last year Joe and I were together, we had to play 4 straight days at the national tournament. So we have an idea, maybe a little bit how to deal with some of those things. But hopefully it's a mental thing, and it's also, bottom line, that game is all going to be about who wants to play harder and who wants it more.
Since we're out recruiting, talk a little bit how difficult it is to replace this many seniors, from one year to the next.
Well, it's very difficult in the aspect partly because of personnel, but also because of NCAA rules. It's hard for us because you only get 12 visits a year, and we've used some of those visits, and so we have to be very, very not only specific, but very careful in who we bring here on a visit. And that's part of what we're in the process of doing right now, of evaluating and eliminating certain guys. And, okay, yeah, this is a guy, first of all, that we feel can fit our needs in terms of bring what we need to have. But second of all, he has a real interest in Idaho State University, and he will continue to have it. That's a hard part of it as well. And obviously, anytime you lose 7 seniors, it's a very, very tough situation to be in. But we feel good about the people that we're involved in. We're still adding to the list. Some guys are kind of stepping up now and coming out of some spots that people weren't really aware of. But we feel good about the people that we're involved in it, with the idea that these guys can come in and step in right away and obviously help us become better and improve the program and move forward.